Yesterday we got 2 phenomenal episodes of Star Wars. The Mandalorian Chapter 20 delivered something truly special, but so did the Bad Batch. And I've got to say, my dear friends, this week I've been dying to make this breakdown and talk about what's to come for the final 2 episodes next week. Anytime it's a Crosshair episode, you know there's going to be a rollercoaster of emotions, as Jennifer Corbett teased beforehand, but also substance and moving the plot forward in what's probably the most interesting part of the show, Mt Tantiss, cloning, and what's going to happen to Crosshair, but there is still the possibility of redemption. So needless to say, big spoiler warning guys, no more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into this. So the premise of this episode was really trying to find out what the Empire is doing with the clones. They're shipping lots of them at a time, mainly those who defected or didn't obey the Empire, to Wayland, Mt Tantiss. There we have the evil Dr. Royce Hemlock and Emery Kerr, the scientist, and they're the ones about to operate on Crosshair, or give him, quote, a clean slate. As I've said in the past guys, it's probably some sort of lobotomizing procedure, but the full plan is not yet known, and that was deliberate throughout the episode. They don't want us to know exactly what's going to happen just yet. We had a massive tease for what's to come in next week's episodes, the double season finale. Tarkin tells Hemlock that he better outline his full plan of operation at the summit, which is the title of the next episode, and that's going to lead to Plan 99. I think the summit is going to be incredibly significant. It's going to be the leading Imperials of this era discussing the next stage of action concerning phasing out the clones, but also some of the twisted experiments they're going to do on them, and I reckon the ones being held at Mt Tantiss are about to undergo something really truly horrible. Experimental and cruel procedures which will alter their minds and autonomous faculties. As Tech mentioned when he ran a check on Hemlock, his methods were very unorthodox. He's renowned for being a mad scientist cloner. He was fired by the Republic. Dr. Hemlock tries to get intel from Crosshair about the whereabouts of Clone Force 99. He needs Omega, but alas, Crosshair doesn't know. He tries to free himself and sends out a distress signal to his brothers with a message, Plan 88, the Seeker. Interestingly enough, the final episode is called Plan 99. I predict Plan 88 was to turn disobedient clones into subservient drones through various experiments, but in the 2-part finale we're going to see the next stage of the Empire's mission, Plan 99, a more pressing plan to capture Omega and maybe wipe out the other members of the batch. It's worth noting that in Star Wars Legends, there was an Order 99 for battle droids, a way for Palpatine to test their allegiance. I wonder if turning clones into obedient troopers and having their minds altered was inspired by this. So more mysteries are yet to be solved, but I reckon the batch is going to try and find Crosshair and where the Empire is taking clones. None of our heroes have worked out it's on Mt Tantiss. One of my favourite parts of this episode is we see Echo and some of the clones he's helped to rescue. The episode starts with saving a bunch of them. One of them is Captain Howzer, a fan favourite from the Ryloth arc in Season 1. He tells us that he and 80 men were in prison, but only 3 survived. We also have Gregor, who the batch saved in Season 1 and who later dies in Star Wars Rebels. They haven't saved Wolf yet, but we do get clones like Fireball and Nemec. And it was also really awesome to see Ryo Chuchi again from Episode 7 and 8. Clone Force 99 themselves are still on Pabu, and Echo seeks them out so that Tech can solve the mystery of where the clones are being sent. The location is encrypted. Meanwhile, Omega is learning to fly the Marauder, and Hunter, who's been exhausted for a long time, is loving life on the down low. They're trying to enjoy their freedom after cutting ties with Sid. They're not mercenaries any longer. Now, while Tech is able to work out that the Imperial project was for the Advanced Science Division, he can't work out the location or its purpose. Based on Crosshair's message, the batch can't decide if he's sending them a warning that they're being pursued, or if it's a trap. If Crosshair doesn't find their location, he's a goner. Hemlock is insane. Now, one of the most important conversations of the episode takes place on Pabu between Echo and Hunter. Echo is fighting the good fight, and with Rex, they've built up a small group of defected clones, but Hunter wonders when it's going to be enough, questioning if they're making a difference at all. And this reminds us, as the viewer, how tragic the story of the clones really is. As we know from later in the timeline, it's not going to end well for most of them, only a handful survive, and I worry about Echo, because by the time of Star Wars Rebels, he's not with Rex or Wolf or Gregor. Now, something really fascinating is that the scientist Emery Kerr implies that she herself cannot escape the facility. I wonder if she's a clone. Is her accent just a coincidence? Because it seems to me that she is in the position that Omega was created for, a medical assistant. She's being forced to work for the Empire. It's not a choice. It was that or death. I say this because they keep zooming in on her when Hemlock threatens Crosshair. The Bad Batch is really setting up two major things here. A clone rebellion against the Empire, which later in the timeline in Rebels, Captain Rex teases they once tried. It's not going to be successful though. And secondly, the start of a new project, using clones as guinea pigs. I've said this before, but it's a Death Trooper program that turns clones into mindless, obedient killers. And this eventually, decades down the timeline, leads to the Dark Troopers, where by that point, the human aspect has been removed. They're just testing at this early stage. It all starts here with the Empire asking the question, how can we create an elite group of troopers who have no free will, but have to do as they're told, ones who are not droids, and still have intuition and precision, and will get the job done, without the risk of being defective? I think that's the aim, and the summit next week, the big meeting, is crucial for that reason. Could it be an ISB-style conference, as we saw in the Andor series, but more secretive, for the highest-ranking Imperial agents and officers? I reckon the Bad Batch Season 2 is about to get crazy. We don't know what we're in for. A two-parter next week implies they do get hold of Omega, and then the last episode is her escape. And in that case, it's a race against the clock, because Plan 99, whatever that ends up being, is gonna be initiated. Now that sounds very deadly. I don't trust the name, nor Hemlock's intentions. It's gonna get dark if they succeed. But this episode really is fantastic, and I'm sorry to keep mentioning it, but the parallels with Andor are very much apparent. We're seeing some of the darkest aspects of the early Empire, and I should also say, the interrogation droid was for Crosshair, because the other day the Kiner brothers put out a tease for episode 14, and at the very bottom of that picture, we do see an interrogation droid. I thought it could be for Omega, but they're not there just yet. And speaking of that picture, it was really just Wrecker fishing. He did really catch a fish. The Bad Batch are enjoying their retirement. Pabu looks beautiful, enjoying a good view, a beautiful sunset, the sea, a place where Omega can learn, expand her knowledge, and gain what she can from her brothers in terms of intellect, especially from tech, and more practical skills from Wrecker and Hunter. But their retirement and bliss is about to get interrupted. Sorry guys, this was just temporary, because it's Star Wars, it's the Empire, and you know there's no time for relaxing. And speaking of Pabu, one of my favourite fan theories is that given Pabu is just an island, it's on the planet of Scarif. That would make the last two episodes even darker knowing what's to come. Episodes like this that really further the characters are some of my favourites. They make you go, oh, I didn't see that coming, and in retrospect you see how much they've grown. In the case of Omega, I don't think her learning from Tech how to fly the Marauder was just thrown in randomly. I think that's going to come to save them later. Those skills are almost certainly going to have a payoff very soon, probably in the last episode. But seriously guys, go back and rewatch season 1. You'll really notice how much Omega has changed and evolved, and in this way she's a bit like Ahsoka. I don't mean in terms of force sensitivity, but rather how much she changes over the seasons. But what did you guys think? Did you enjoy episode 14 Tipping Point? Are you excited for the 2-episode finale next week? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10. And just a cheeky prediction, I've got a feeling I'm going to give the finale a 10 out of 10. Let's wait and see. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and if you want access to videos that you can't find here on YouTube, then click the link down there in the description. But until the next one guys, may the Force be with you always.